So here is the little gazebo, and one of the things that took me quite a bit of time to do was the roof. And the roof is all scalloped, and I knew in my head I wanted it to be scalloped. I knew how I wanted to use the papers, but I have to admit that my friend Charlene gave me a brilliant idea when she told me to use a punch. And it turns out that I had a punch that I could use in my stash, and it is a Stampin' Up! Sponge. I don't know if they still have it, but it's this one, and it worked quite well. And I also need to tell you that it probably took me about 6 hours to do the roof to get it right, because I really wanted it to look pretty, and I think that it came out really, really nice. Now, it's toned down a little bit because I wanted the bottom to not the top not to outweigh the bottom, and because I used paper that had a lot of cream or off-white in it, this became a little bit too bold. So I used white acrylic paint, and I whitewashed the roof, and I think you might be able to see that here on the green, how it's just enough paint. It's very, very light, and it's just enough to take down the brightness of the paper just a notch. Now, the next thing I did on my gazebo is I added this paper. It's actually a sticker from the 12 by 12 sticker sheet, and I thought it was the perfect complement for the top of my gazebo. And then I used the paper here. What I did is I cut out the paper in narrower strips than the width of the column, so that I had white showing on both sides. And I think that looks really pretty. And I did that all the way around on the outside with the same kind of paper from the collection. And it's actually one of my favorite pieces of paper in the whole collection. It's really pretty. Now, once I had done that, I decided that I really wanted to do the inside columns as well. I really didn't want to leave them white because it just like was too in your face. So I used their white, it's a gold print on sort of an off-white paper, and I think you can see that all my inside columns are lined with that paper. And again, I did the same thing. I cut it just a little bit narrower than a side of, like each side of the column, and that way I have a little bit of white showing. For the bottom, I used two of the papers, and I used my Spellbinder die. It's a, I don't know, it's a six-sided, so it's not a hexagon, but anyway. And I did that because I wanted to have that purple border. And so it looks like I've got like a rug with a border. And then there's a little bench. The little bench was made using little wood pieces for the bottom that I got at Joann's. As I did, I also got the mini popsicle sticks at Joann's, and I painted both, and then I added paper to both the feet of the bench and the top of the bench. And I think you can see the paper there. Next, I had painted all this purple, and again, once I got down to here, I realized that I needed to cover that, leave the purple showing, but just a tiny little bit of purple showing. So I cut little rectangles out, and I just went around and I added that, and on every other side I picked a piece of paper that had a word on it. So I've got Daisy here, and then I have Violet here. And finally, I wanted to have those cute banners that come in their new banner pack, and they were the perfect size, I think, for this project. I was able to take each one, and I scored each at about, I guess, 1/8 of an inch, so that I could fold it over this baker's twine that's yellow and white. And then if you notice here, I just attached it to the fence, and I'll tell you about the fence in a minute. And those borders are so cute. Now the fence also came from Joann's, and thankfully I did not have to paint it. It came white, and it was just to me it was just the perfect height to close in my gazebo a little bit and make it a tiny bit more intimate to go sit in and read if you're a tiny little creature. On the top I have some beads, and then I have some very tiny mulberry flowers, and I did color these two to make them exactly the same color as this. And to do that, I used some of my Lindy Starburst spray, and the perfect match for that color was Cocobelle's Coral. And I'm pretty sure that they've changed their packaging by now. But I got mine a couple of years ago, and I love them. And they take a long, I mean, you can use them for a long, long time. Now to the bench. Here is my little bench. And it came, as I said before, tan and brown. And if you look at it, I wanted the slats to show. So again, I cut my paper just slightly smaller than the actual slat of the bench so that there could be white showing, and we wouldn't have, it wouldn't cover the whole bench. And then I used some of the purple one on the edging. And for the same reason as I whitewashed the top of the gazebo, I also whitewashed the bench. I just wanted it to not be too vibrant because I used a very vibrant portion of the paper. And this is some of that rose trim with the bead inside. And I just used two of the flowers, and of course that was white. And to get it exactly that color, I used another one of the Lindy Starburst spray called Jazzy Jivin Purple. And here you go. And it was perfect on here. However, when I did it, mulberry flowers, it was too dark on the mulberry flowers because it soaked in more. But on the bench and on the trim, it was absolutely the perfect shade of purple, as you can see. To the box.